Frome is a sort of medium-sized market town in northeast Somerset, which has a bit of a reputation for being independent and doing things a bit differently. There's a real sense of community here, but also, like a lot of towns in the UK, a lot of people are facing uncertainty about the future. Frome Town Council had declared a climate emergency, and as part of that had a consultation with the public, coming up with ways that the town could combat climate change and make the town sort of more sustainable and green. I've heard that they were thinking about starting a seed library, and so I thought, yeah, I could do that. And I was relatively new to Frome, so not only was it a really good opportunity to pursue my love of horticulture, but also get actively involved in the community, and in a community that really, really cares about the environment.
So the seed library is quite interesting actually, because it's more than a seed swap. And it is that at its very simplest, and that works brilliantly. People drop in, they pick up seed, but it's about seed saving and seed sovereignty. It's about giving people access to really good quality vegetable seeds that they can grow their own.
So our humble shoebox in the library is part of a bigger global movement of seed sovereignty, which is essentially the rights for farmers and growers to swap and sell their own open pollinated seed. It gives people an opportunity to grow varieties that they might not have otherwise tried, but also a lot of these seed are ones that have been passed down from generation to generation and grow well within Frome. Frome has very claggy clay soil, so to have seed that is adapted to that is great for growers. And also they help increase biodiversity within the community. We started the seed library in July 2022, and within a few months, a few hundred packets of seed had found their way out into the community, which was fantastic. But we were thinking there must be a way of making this more of an active facility within the community. So the library came up with the now infamous idea of starting a toddler gardening group. Once a month, under fives come to the library and wreak all sorts of horticultural chaos, and it's called Sprouts. Once we started Sprouts with the kids, we became aware that the staff at the library had always wanted there to be an outdoor space that visitors and they could use in their breaks.
We had the library closed for a while we had new windows and doors and air source heat pumps fitted. And we had an away day as a staff team. And out of all of our design ideas for what a library could be, having a library outside was a really strong element of it. But then we kind of didn't know what else to do with it.
So we put our heads together and thought, could we raise some money to create this garden? We've been really, really fortunate to have been awarded funding as part of Green and Healthy Frome, which awards National Lottery climate action funds to activities that are trying to make the local community more green and sustainable, and gave us some money to buy compost and containers, and then people started donating and we began creating this green space.
The garden is now in what was a really unloved and tatty space down the side of the library. So we've got a pathway that runs between the library and the river, that's our emergency exits. And that part of it was paved, but most of it was just scrub and weeds and thistles, and it was overgrown. Because that area was quite hidden, it got used for various nefarious and unpleasant purposes, so it was really not a nice space.
When we started thinking about creating the garden, we realised that we would really need some help making it the vision that the staff and that the space deserved. Fortunately, we were able to call upon the skills and artistic capabilities of 6 primary schools within Frome, who we visited and ran seed saving and seed sowing workshops with, and showing them where their food comes from, and also explaining to them why saving seed is important. And each of the children created a dream vision of what the space could look like. We had otter vending machines, because we have otters in the river next to it. We had bug hotels. We had roller coasters, which we didn't go with in the end. We had ponds. We had lions and tigers, elephants, guinea pigs, ducks, you name it. We had it in these amazing, cool, interesting ideas. But the main thing that we took away from the workshops with the kids is that they get it. They understand how important it is for wildlife to have space to thrive. And for there to be biodiversity within our towns and cities.
Yeah, I've made poo!
You've made poo, brilliant. So it was just really heartening to come away from those workshops with all of these incredible ideas that we then had to go away and do justice to. What's been really rewarding about the Seed Library and how it started off as a shoebox in the library, then a gardening club for kids, then a tour of primary schools, then this garden, is that we've involved so many other organisations within Frome. We have the Shed Movement, who we approached about making some containers. They were phenomenal. They turned it around super quick for us and created these beautiful planters using offcuts from pallets and other bits and bobs of wood that they had within their store. The men's shed are based all around the country, and it just gives women and men the space to chat, have a cup of tea, have a piece of cake, and make stuff. And so it's really, really great that they were able to contribute to the project, and the containers look absolutely beautiful. The town rangers came and kindly dropped them off. They've also provided us with logs for log piles, and will be providing us with shrubs and other plants that they also grow from seed. Loop, who are a community compost organisation, they collect food waste from local restaurants and then turn it into beautiful, rich, biodiverse compost. And we're really, really lucky to have been given some of their black gold to kickstart our garden. The support that we've had from within the town has been fantastic and really moving, actually. And the really, really great thing is, because we have the seed library, we have all of this incredible seed at our fingertips. So the majority of the plants that are growing within the garden have been grown from seed that's been donated by local people, nurtured by primary school children and on our Under Fives Gardening Club, and is now growing in our garden for everyone to enjoy. Over 500 people were involved ultimately in the creation of the garden, providing ideas or tools or labour. And so it was really great to see so many familiar faces coming to the library garden when it opened. It was a real celebration of what you can do when people come together with a common cause. And it's just great to think that a space that was once used for fly tipping and other not so great activity is now starting to become a haven for wildlife that is open to all, not just people visiting the library. And it's really lovely to walk past it and see people engaging with the space in a totally different way than they were previously. So today we're opening the Seed Library garden, and we've got a few different containers. So we've got this container here, which is a dry garden with some lovely smelly plants in it.
Doesn't even have to be anything.
And we've got another one here with a lovely fig. and some other plants that can cope well with the heat, because obviously it's getting warmer every single year, so we need plants that are going to be able to cope with that. And then if I take you over here, this is the exciting bit. So the majority of the plants that are in these containers have been grown by toddlers and local school children, where we took along a few seeds and they sowed them for us. We then took them back home and germinated them, and this is just a tiny fraction of what we have in store over the coming weeks and months for the Seed Library Garden. We have a pond, which is a work in progress. But in the coming weeks, we'll be getting it filled with some plants and some nice aquatic plants. We've got some beans and we've got some pumpkins, and we've got a very, very fancy bug hotel. Usually these cages are used to be filled with stone and they're used as retaining walls. Well, we figured, why can't you just fill them with sticks and logs and some old bricks and make it a new habitat for all of the bugs and creepy crawlies that live along the river here.
We've been working really closely with the Frome Seed Library in order to bring some of the National Lottery, the Climate Action Funding money to this project, and particularly to the sessions running with the under fives in the library, the Sprouts. And so it's amazing to be here today to see how this has grown.
There's very few things you can put in a public space that as many people and as wide range of people can use as community growing, as raised beds, etc. And I think what Kerry has done here is incredible. Our response to the climate crisis, it is about thinking, what do we need? What are we really good at? What skills do we have? And what are we really passionate about? And then doing what we can, in that area, because it needs all of us.
Well, I think it's such a great idea, getting the children involved in the community, and it's fantastic. And a really great day for a launch too.
The beauty of gardening is that you never stay still. It's always developing, it's always growing. So since we opened, we've introduced a pond and a compost heap. And as and when we get more funds and more donations, we'll just continue to add to it. Our vision is that we can turn all of the space outside of the library into a habitat and an environment that people want to hang out in and enjoy. Money shouldn't be a barrier to people having access to horticulture and gardens. One of the things that we've been doing at Sprouts is growing food. We grew some potatoes this year and we donated them to our local food bank, which, like a lot of towns in the UK, is very well used at the moment. The Seed Library offers people an opportunity to engage with seed in a way that's completely free. Older people can come along to seed saving workshops and socials that we run. The kids can come to Sprouts, they can come along to the garden. It's open to all. We just want everyone to have an opportunity to get involved and start their own seed story.
The response to the garden's been absolutely brilliant. So staff love it. We're just really excited by having all of this greenery growing. Regularly you get people walking down the side of the library to have a look at it. People stop and read the signs. Children who are involved in the Seed Library through Sprout, you can see them dragging various relatives down the side to have a look at what's been going on. There's a wildlife pond, there's a compost heap started, there's bug hotels and piles of logs. It's a brilliant space.
I hope the garden inspires other people to try doing something similar in their own communities, even if it's just a case of putting some planters outside a shop or outside your front garden. Everyone can play their small part to green up their environment. Once you put your message out there, you'll find people who are willing to help, and you get to know your neighbours and your town, and that can only be a good thing.